Okay, so you've cut all your footage together, added a banging track, graded it nicely, but then when it comes time to play it back, it's just boring, like really boring. We've all had that problem, right? But how do we fix it? There are so many ways to improve boring videos, from shooting the right clips in the first place, to using titles, adding motion graphics, choosing the right music, adding sound design, using effects, and so much more. But in this video, I'm going to cover 2 tips that I think you can use to dramatically spice up your boring videos. Let's take a look at this short edit to see if we can fix it. It's not bad, but it's nothing special. Let's spice it up using some of the 101 effects in the mReveal pack from MotionVFX, which I'll leave a link to down below. And yes, it is a paid plugin, but don't click away just yet, because I'm also going to show you how you can create some of your own effects using Final Cut Pro's built-in effects in just a bit. If I select a clip, let's say this second clip over here, and I hover over these effects, you'll see what they do. So they have a way of animating in and animating out as well. Now these work as effects and not as transitions, so I'll hit Shift Z just to fill my timeline with this edit, and I'm going to select all of these clips and use Command Alt and the up arrow to lift them from the primary storyline, and I'll hit that shortcut again just to get them out of that group. Let's go ahead and apply one of these effects to this first clip. Let's look at something like mReveal 19. That looks pretty cool. I'll drop that on top of the clip, and if you have a look here, you'll see that it animates in from the very beginning of this clip. So what I'd like to do is just pull this edit back a little bit so that it animates over the top of this first shot. And that looks pretty great already. I'll move my playhead to the middle of this effect so that I can show you some of these parameters. You can obviously animate in or out, which will happen at the beginning or the end of the clip. And what's nice about this is as I extend, this animation out will happen at the end of the clip. So I can simply just retime this wherever I'd like for it to animate out. I can also adjust other things like the scale, the mode, which will make it a graphic element on the screen as opposed to a full screen shot. I can change the light raise amount. You can also add a glow if you like, which is pretty cool. And each of these different effects has different parameters that you can adjust. And what's really cool is you can stack them, which we'll get to in just a second. But let's maybe also animate out of this first clip. So instead of only having the animation or the effect happen on the second clip, we'll scroll down and we'll just grab another one of these effects. Let's just take number 68. And on that one, I'm going to turn off the in animation so that we just animate out of the shot. Now I'll double click at the top of my inspector here to maximize my inspector window, and I can adjust some of these parameters here. So for distortion, I can increase that. I can change the direction of the distortion. I can affect the prism amount, which is pretty cool. And I can adjust the prism angle if I like. So let's have a look at stacking some effects. Let's take this third shot and we'll look for another effect to apply here. Maybe something like this. These little light rays are pretty cool. So we'll drop that onto the clip, and let's look for another one. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's drop those two onto that third clip. I'll show the parameters on that first mReveal, and here we can even change things like the color of the light, the color of the glint, maybe contrasting colors, and we can change the glint size, the glint softness. You can turn it on or off, and then I will just hide that for now. And on the second clip, I might take the soft focus off and increase the prism amount and maybe increase the scan lines amount. You can also get different looks by changing the order in which you apply these effects. So if I drag this effect on top of the first one, you'll see how we get a different look. Let's play those first 3 clips back so you can see what we've done so far. Now I'll speed up the rest of this process because you don't have to watch me applying these effects to every single clip, and there are far too many of these mReveal presets to go through in detail. The cool thing is you can also apply these effects to titles. But once I've finished adjusting the handles and applying the effects, this is what our new edit looks like. That is so much better. Now, tip number 2 is going to take this video to the next level. But before we get there, you might be thinking, I don't really have money for a plugin pack, or I don't want to spend money on a plugin pack. And that's totally fine, because Final Cut Pro has some built-in effects that you can use to create some effects of your own. Let me show you an example on this clip. I'm going to go into the stylized category of effects, and I'm going to add a simple raster effect. And I'll also go ahead and have a look in some of my other categories to see what effects I might want to add on top of this. Maybe this tint effect. And then lastly, I'll head over to the keying category and I'll add a luma key effect. I'll go to where the second clip will come in, and I'm going to set a keyframe on the amount of raster, the tint. I might actually just change the color here, something like that. And I'm going to set a keyframe on the luma keyer. I'll go to the end of the clip and hit my left arrow to go 1 frame back, and I'll create keyframes here again on all of those parameters. And then I'm going to jump back to the first keyframe so that I can adjust these effects to 0. And then I'll adjust the luma keyer so that this full clip is visible. So essentially this part of the clip remains unaffected. And if I go frame by frame here, you'll see how we transition into the second clip. What I might even do is just adjust the luma keyer here in terms of the black values, so that when I go frame by frame, we've got this cool effect happening between the two clips. So you can play around with any of your built-in effects to create your own custom looks. And let's say you like this one, you can hit Save Effects Preset at the bottom. Let's create a new category, which we'll call Custom Effects. And we'll call this one a raster tint effect. I'll maintain the keyframes and hit save. Now if I decide I want to add the same effect to the second clip, for example, I can head over to custom effects and I can add my raster tint effect. Now the keyframes we've created have been applied to this clip as well. So I'll hit Ctrl V to open that up. And in this case, I'm going to have to extend the clip, and I can adjust the keyframes here as needed. And for most of the effects, you can just adjust those keyframes. For the luma keyer, however, you might need to redo these keyframes. So I'll reset it over there, and I will adjust the white value, set a keyframe, and over here I will set the white value back to the right end and the black as well. And essentially what will happen is you'll have that effect happening and fading to black. So while it is possible to create your own effects, it is a bit more time consuming, and that's actually why I prefer to use paid effects like this mReveal pack from MotionVFX, because it saves me so much time. And time is money. With 101 effects in this pack, it works out to less than $1 per effect, which is money well spent in my opinion. As cool as this new edit looks, we need to make it sound cooler as well, because remember, a video is 50% visual and 50% audio. So let's add some sound effects. I've grabbed some skateboarding sound effects, as well as a bunch of whoosh and glitchy distortion sound effects from Envato that will work really well here. I'm sure you'll agree that if this was meant to promote a skate park that was about to open up, this would be a much better promo video. Now it's important to say that you can't just slap a bunch of effects onto a bad edit or to bad footage and expect it to magically make the edit better, but you can take a half-decent edit and make it more dynamic and more interesting to watch by adding effects. Don't forget to use the link and the coupon code down below to get yourself 10% off if you decide to pick up mReveal for yourself. And also, if you'd like to see some other MotionVFX plugins that I recommend, go ahead and check this video out next.